All right, so the next part is to do the assembly. For a bracelet, I generally recommend putting a core wire into it. What that does is it gives the bracelet a little bit more stability, and it makes it easier to take on and off, so it becomes a one-handed thing that you don't have to fuss with too much. You know, and it doesn't really affect the look of the bracelet at all, but it does make it much easier to take it on and off. So to do that, you're going to need a little bit more of your 20 gauge wire. And how big you make this, how long you make this, is going to depend on how long the bracelet is. So clean it and straighten your wire.
So just go ahead and cut it the same length as the bracelet?
No, this is going to be it's going to be about a little bit longer than the bracelet. So if your bracelet is, say, 8 inches long, then you're going to want to work something that's about a foot long.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, so once you've got this piece cut, then feed it through the end of your Viking knit here. So it's a little bit longer. And then feed on your end cap and twist it into place so that your Viking knit fits in there nice and snug.
Both sides?
Sorry?
Both sides or just the one?
Both sides, yeah. Now in my case, my end cap is a little bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is take the pliers and very gently squeeze this a little bit more. And that will cone it a little bit more, and it should be able to fit them. Ideally, you want about 3 or 4 rows of your knitting to be inside the end cap. And once you're happy with how that looks, then the end of the end cap here, where you started your coiling, is that clear?
Yeah. Oh, a little blurry.
It's a little blurry. Okay, what I'm going to do is bring it up here. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, better.
Okay, good. All right, so what you're looking for is the start of your coiling here.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've got this fed in here, take your round nose pliers and grab that end and feed it through the Viking knitting to lock everything in place. So what that does is it hides the end of the coil there, but it also locks the end of your knitting.
You're
right?
just turning it to the inside?
I'm turning it to the inside, yes.
You didn't actually like coil it around the loop.
No, I didn't.
It's
just enough to hook in there.
Yep. Got it.
right? It secures the end. It secures this onto the end of your Viking knitting so it doesn't pull off anymore.
That's great.
And then once you've got that, then what you can do is clip off
Oh no.
the end of your core wire here. What's an oh no?
The wire that I fed through came out from the, I have to take the end cap off again.
Oh,
It just like slid out.
all right.
Okay, all right, sorry.
You want to cut off the end of your core wire then and file the end. And then you want to give yourself a little bit of space here, maybe between, say, 3/4 of an inch and an inch. And set this down into the bottom of your pliers, your round nose pliers, sorry, and turn a loop. So you're going to bend it so that it comes around on itself like this. You want this loop to be big enough that it can hook into something. So this becomes an eye for your bracelet. So, yeah, a second. What we're doing is we're making this piece here.
Oh, okay.
So once you have it here, then reposition the tips of your pliers where the two wires cross for your loop and bend this back a little bit. So you're making what I call a lollipop. Okay, so here's what it looks like.
How long do you know? Oh, I guess at this side it doesn't matter. Okay, all right.
So once you've got this, then you can grab your loop and cover over the loop with your flat nose pliers, and then just take your thumb and bend this tail wire around to anchor it. You don't have to go around very often. Twice is probably plenty. And then once this is locked into place, then you can trim this off. So when you're trimming this off, you want to, again, have the flat edge of the wire nippers against the finished work. Flip it off. And then take your flat nose pliers and just press that tail end down so that it's nice and tight against the stem. And then give it a feel with your fingers to see that there are no rough marks. Anything that's rough is going to catch on your sweater. And then you can pull that down and you can see that it makes a nice little finished end here. And then once you have that, you can flip over to the other side. And feed on your other end cap and slide it down into place. Twist it on. Squeeze that a little bit more. Now this time, you can squeeze this a little bit so that it bunches a little bit, and when it's straight, it looks like it's got a little bit of a wobble in it. You don't want to have it be too severe, so don't scrunch it down too far. But you do want to make sure that this doesn't have a lot of play. Like you don't want the end cap to be able to come off again. And once you're happy with that, then what you can do is, again, take your round nose pliers Grab the end of your coil and bend it into place. Bend it towards the center and lock in your knitting. All right. So from here now, you're going to want to make a hook. So the amount of wire that you've got left, measure how much you've got. Oh, it's come loose. Okay, give me a second. All right. So you want to have about 2 inches of wire to play with. So this is gonna scrunch a little bit so that you can get your 2 inches. And then measure and mark the wire at about 3/4 of an inch here. So you're measuring from your end cap to 3/4 of an inch. And then once you've got that, you want to bend the wire back on itself to create a hook. So you're going to have a little bit of extra tail here. That's fine. So this hook is going to be about 3/4 of an inch. And then on the tail end here, you'll have a little bit extra. And what you will want to do is take your pliers and bend it 90 degrees. And then bring these 2 pieces of wire together to form the hook. And then grab it with the flat nose pliers, like that. And then bend this around the stem to finish it off. And again, you want to go around twice. Same amount of times you went around on this end, you want to go around on this end. And then once you've got that, you can trim this off. And then press it with the flat nose pliers so that it's nice and tight against the stem. All right. And then take the tips of the flat nose pliers and grab the last maybe 2 to 3 millimeters of your wire, your hook, like this, and bend it on a slight angle. I call this making a ski jump. And then switch over to your round nose pliers. Set this down about halfway into the pliers and about just shy of halfway from the tip. And bend it around in a hook. Now you can set your pliers back down here and bend this back so that it's a little bit more. And just play until you've got the hook nicely lined up here. Ideally, what you want to have happen is when you hook this into it, it slides in, but doesn't undo easily. So once you're at this point, then you can start taking your fingers And if you have a bracelet mandrel, you can do this with a bracelet mandrel, but you can also just do it with your fingers, where you start to bend this in a circle. Or if you don't have a bracelet mandrel, you can use a can of soup. And start to bend it around until you can bring it together. And then you can work it with your fingers. Until it's nice and round. And then check your hook again. And if it needs to come together a little bit more, then make it a little bit smaller. Ideally, what you want is for the hook and eye to hook into each other and not come apart easily. All right, I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm going to turn the eye a little bit. I have to twist that a little bit. That's better.